Good evening, everybody. This is JPico Death checking in for another cooking video. Today's not going to be quite as fast as some of the others. It's actually going to be a meal tonight. Haven't had a whole lot of time on my hands of late, and for that I apologize, but I did want to share with you guys a recipe for a homemade fettuccine Alfredo. And this is something that I learned to make a number of years ago. You'll have to excuse my pasta noises. We have already got a pot of water boiling, cooking up our fettuccine, or excuse me, take that back, our linguine. It is a thinner noodle than a fettuccine, and it is thicker than a spaghetti. It's just, it's my preference for this type of thing. I don't want too much noodle, I want to be having more sauce. So what we're going to be doing today is be cooking this Linguine Alfredo. We're going to be grilling up a chicken breast to put atop it, and we're going to be serving it, of course, with garlic bread, which, other than a green leafy salad, about completes the meal. And the truth is, I just wasn't in the mood for a salad today, so we're going to have just pasta without. Got some butter here that we had out of the fridge just for a little bit, and we're going to be using it to prepare our garlic bread. And I'm going to be using a pre-done minced garlic product, and I'm hoping to goodness this butter is soft enough. It almost doesn't look like it is. That's not going to work. Let's get this in the microwave for a few seconds. We'll come back to this. Okay, so we've softened up our butter in the microwave just a little bit, not too much. I didn't want to make it all the way liquid, but we got a little bit plus what's on the garlic, and I should have maybe chosen a different bowl for this or something. I don't know. I'm making a hell of a mess of it. That's exciting. In any event, what we have here is we have butter and minced garlic, and we're going to be putting it directly onto our bread. These are just day-old rolls I found at the deli, and for the purposes of a quick dinner, if you're not making it for a whole bunch of people, which tonight admittedly I'm not, little rolls like this can be really great for just a simple meal without a whole lot of extra and waste. But I do prefer to do the fresh garlic and butter like this for my garlic bread. I find that it's a lot tastier, in my opinion, than if we were to go with a powdered product. But if you want to get yours out of the freezer section or whatever, you go right ahead. This is the way I prefer to do mine, and it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. I'm just going to get these all mixed and ready to go. I have here a baking sheet that we're going to put these on. We're going to add to them just a little bit of fresh grated mozzarella and Parmesan cheese. It's garlic cheesy bread. I was a little heavy-handed on that first one, I think. Not that that's a bad thing, but if I'm budgeting my cheese here, gotta be a little bit even. So my linguine's been on for about 5 minutes. It's almost done, but feel free to cook that pasta up to your own preference. Yeah, the pasta's almost done. And these are going to go into a 400-degree oven in just a couple minutes. I think we're still preheating. I don't think it's quite ready yet. Okay, our oven just finished heating to 400 degrees, so we're going to go ahead and take this bread and we're going to get it in the oven. Meanwhile, what I've got out now is my griddle pan for chicken. I don't, unfortunately, have the opportunity to have a real grill at my house. I should say at my apartment, we're not allowed to have grills. Heck, I don't even have a balcony at this particular apartment. But this is what I can do to get the taste of grilled food even when it is indoors. You just got to be careful not, or rather what you're cooking, to make sure that it's not going to be too smoky indoors. Now, my pasta is done. In this instance, I have not drained it off. A lot of people will certainly tell you to drain it and to rinse it. There are two schools of thought on this, and one of them is that if you rinse the pasta, then the starch is in the water. What you do is you rinse most of them off of the noodle, making it more difficult for sauce to stick to them. Personally, I want this Alfredo to not be sliding off of my noodle, so I'm going to leave that on there. And rather leave the starch. So I'm not going to rinse them. I have pulled them just a little bit early. They're going to sit in the pot and continue to rest and cook up just a little bit more. But this pan is almost ready for us. While this is waiting, I'm going to take an opportunity to say thank you to everybody so far who have submitted videos to Vault Girl and myself for our collaborative playlist we've been doing. Got a lot of really great food entries. Really appreciate everybody taking the time to do that. I hope that you're having fun with the project. As of this recording, we have, I think, 53 videos in the queue already. So that's a lot of food. Thanks everybody for helping out with that. That's just great. So make sure that you seek out Vault Girl or myself to provide links to the food you're cooking. We'll kind of go from there. This pan should be about ready. What we've got here are 2 chicken breasts, although I'm hesitant to call it a full 2. They are actually cut fairly thin. When I first bought them, I was under the impression they were a little thicker, and so I was only going to use 1, but realistically they're kind of trimmed down in half, so they are not too thick. But we're going to get them onto this grill pan. Hopefully we're warm enough. Yeah. Now, I actually used to work at a restaurant, and one of my jobs at that restaurant was to work on the grill. And although we are not cooking on a grill today, the same principles still apply. You always want to make sure you have some heat. You don't want to move your food around too much when you're grilling. And then there are a few tips and or tricks on how to get good grill marks. My only concern right now is that my pan may not be hot enough yet. So we're going to let these sit for one little second. I wish I would have done that a little better, but it's a little late for it now. We're also going to start a second pan over here on the other side, and this is where we're going to be making our sauce. Alright, so I turned up my pan just a little bit and gave this a minute, and it's coming on along a little better. Now, in order to get beautiful grill marks, and this is no matter where you're grilling, the idea is that you want to make sure that you get one set of grill marks on, turn the meat at about a 45-degree angle from where you've been, and leave it alone. And then you're going to have a beautiful cross hatch of grill marks. And as long as you cook the meat properly on the one side and then go to the second, you don't really ever have to worry about going back to the first side and ruining your grill marks. Okay, I think we're about ready to flip these. It's only been a couple of minutes. As a general statement, chicken is pretty easy. These were only, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, only seasoned with a little bit of olive oil, garlic salt, salt and pepper, and that's all I'm doing for these ones. And we're going to let the grill kind of speak for the rest and go from there. As you can see, they're nice clean grill marks, and you know, when you go to a restaurant, you're hoping to find food that is beautiful to eat with the eyes before you even get it to your mouth. And if you're grilling things, then getting great grill marks is a good start on that count. So I'm going to get my camera set up on this other pan and we'll get the sauce moving. Okay friends, welcome to the other half of the stove. Ooh, the pan's a little bit warmer than I thought it was. My butter's all foamed up. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be sauteing about 2, maybe 2.5 tablespoons of butter. And we're going to be adding garlic directly to this. And we're going to saute this not for very long. We don't want to cook the garlic, we just want to release the flavors from it. So get all these warmed up and moving here. And truthfully, I learned to make an Alfredo sauce. There are traditional ways with eggs and all kinds of other things. That's not the way I learned to make mine. Now, in this instance, I'm not going to be making a giant pile of sauce because it has a tendency of not heating very well. Reheating very well, I should specify. But with my butter going, move this chicken real quick. With my butter and my garlic going, all I have to do is get some cream in here. And I added maybe about a cup and a half. Like I said, I am not cooking for an army tonight. But the biggest thing we need right now is for this to cook down and reduce. And we're going to give it just a couple minutes here on the heat, give it a chance to reduce before we get our cheese mixed in. So you need butter, you need cream, and you need a fresh grated Parmesan. Those are the 3 ingredients realistically that you need for an Alfredo sauce. And like I said, I don't know as far as classic, if you have an Italian grandma who taught you to do it another way, I'm not going to tell you otherwise. But this is the way I learned to make it, and this is the way I like to make it, this is the way my family makes it. And like I said, the biggest thing we want to do right now is we want to get this thing reducing down. Chicken is looking great and juicy. We don't want to overcook these, but we do want to keep this cream sauce moving. So we are reducing it here, which means that we're cooking off any of the excess basically water that wants to cook away, and it's going to leave us with a much thinner, much lovelier product to work with. And this sauce is going to come together pretty quick. Here in a minute we're going to be getting this Parmesan into it. It's bubbling away nicely. I'm going to leave this in real time so you guys can see just how long this actually takes. So far, like I said, all we have is butter and cream and garlic in this pan. But reducing it down is going to really change its flavor profile. And it's going to become kind of a different beast. And some people may not even want to add extra cheese into this. You may like it just like that. For me, I've got freshly grated Parmesan. We're going to start working this in. We do recommend the beef freshly grated. Seems to give a better product. Certainly don't use the stuff in the can. The shake cheese is not really very good for this. It has a tendency to be gritty because of all the other things they put in there to keep it from clumping together. It's just not the same as a fresh grated product. And this, this was a block of cheese 30 minutes ago. It really doesn't take too much time to do because we added the cold stuff in, we lost a little bit of heat. We're going to add another little bit of this. So we're probably about a half or 3/4 cup of cheese at this point. I haven't added any salt to this. It was a salted butter that we used. Cheese itself has some salt to it. Admittedly, I don't know if the dairy has much salt content to bring to this one. I haven't tasted this yet. But the only thing that I prefer is ground black pepper. And this is always to taste. I'm trying not to go overboard on it. And I'm not trying to make pepper gravy or anything. So right now we're about a little bit of a medium, not quite a medium-high heat, but it's still reducing, it's thickening up nicely. You don't necessarily need any binders for this. It's going to bind together pretty well by itself. Grab a spoon here, and as you can see, it's already thickening up really well. It's not, it's not just cream anymore. Take a little taste test on that. That's doing pretty well. I think I may end up adding just a pinch of salt. I'm also going to give this thing just a teeny bit more cream. I might have been a little heavy-handed on my Parmesan. Like I said, this is thickening up real nice, and realistically it's almost done. So this has taken, what, maybe 5 minutes? Speaking of, our bread is done, now that I'm looking at it, so I should pull that out of the oven. So there we have it. There is our bread, toasted and lovely. So this whole thing, from starting the pasta and prepping the chicken to right now, has only taken about 30 minutes. And that includes setting everything up so that I'm hopefully roughly on point for you guys. Because this is my kitchen, as I said, I'm the only one eating this stuff. I'm not worried about double dipping this spoon. I think it needs just a little bit more salt. Still, just strange to say. Usually you don't need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this for another moment more, and then I'm going to see you guys in 1 minute. We're going to cut up our chicken, and then we're going to get on to plating. And if I have my way, we're going to get you a restaurant-worthy plate. Let's say that. See you guys in a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, chicken has rested for just a few minutes off the heat. It is still tender. It's beautiful to look at. This is your reminder to, consuming raw and undercooked poultry is bad for you. Don't do it. So the way that they taught us to do this at the restaurant was to cut the chicken on the bias like this. Come on, you. And then when it goes onto the plate, it's going to be lovely, and you'll see that in just one little minute. Assuming that I cut those through all the way. Apparently I did not. Cut the second one up real quick. I have a very small kitchen, and on top of that it is a everyday livable space for me and my family, and so we don't have much in the way of counter space, so we get to get creative around here about how things come together. Okay, chicken is cut. The sauce is ready to go. Set that over there. And because, like I said, we're going to be eating basically just for myself, I'm going to take and drain off a handful of noodles here. And they're going to go directly into the pot. Do this a couple of times. Oh my goodness. If I can hold on to the dang things, they're slippery little boogers. Maybe I'll grab my my pasta scoop. Hold on one second on that. What we're trying to get is noodles without the water that we've had them resting in, because once again I wanted to maintain the I wanted the sauce to be able to sit on these things without having any problems. As I mentioned before, these are linguine noodles, not fettuccine. They are a little thinner of a noodle without being as thin as spaghetti. But I'll toss these in the sauce. And this is more sauce than these noodles need right now. So I'll get back to you guys in one little second when we get this plate together. Okay folks, there you have it. We have ourselves a linguine Alfredo with grilled chicken breast and garlic bread on the side. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope that you will try this for yourself and let me know what you think. Yeah, once again, anybody out there wanting to provide some food videos, share with the community, please send your entries to myself and or Vault Girl, and we will get them on the playlist. So thank you very much everybody who is helping so far, and I hope you all have a wonderful night, day, weekend, whatever, century. J. Pico Death, signing off. Happy eating. Bye-bye.